Eagles Nation was really, really, really good. This is another Wednesday night, another episode of the Eagles Elite podcast. We on here specifically tonight to break down the undrafted free agents that the Philadelphia Eagles signed. And the reason I'd like to do that, and the squad we want to do that is to give you an opportunity to understand these people that they have a long shot for making the roster. But keep in mind, there have been a lot of people who were included in a similar group, undrafted free agents that have made impacts on the Eagles roster. So, want to highlight those people as well as there's been a lot of scheduling rumors and quote unquote spoilers out there. So, what we're going to do is just kind of go over some of that as well. Of course, always breaking news. This is your spot to be anytime you want to hear about the Philadelphia freaking Eagles all year long, year round. This is a spot. This is where you want to be. So, with that being said, it's time to get into it. First things first. What's up, Wyatt?
What's going on, everybody? Another week, another hour of nothing but Eagles talk. I'm ready to get into everything. You know how it is.
Let's get it. Let's get it. And of course, we are also joined by one of our other co-hosts, the Eagles Diva. Eagles Diva, what it do?
What's going on, Eagles Nation? Just ready to get into another week. We're getting closer and closer to the football season. Let's get it. Let's talk Eagles.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, Wyatt, you are our guy to go to for breaking news. So, what's poppin'?
Yeah, waived a couple players here. Waived safety Andre Sacheri. He's gone. And then we also waived a defensive tackle, Marvin Wilson, as well. So, just some camp bodies that were here the past couple years. We got, with the draft and everything and some, free agent pickups, can't keep everybody around. But they could be back on the practice squad. Who knows?
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, we got our first comment here. Philly. Ryan with us as always. Good evening, Philly.
Good evening, Philly.
What's up,
Thanks
Philly?
Definitely glad to have you with us. So, why any other breaking news?
Yeah, the other thing we have here is former Jaguars tight end Dan Arnold signed a 1-year deal with the Eagles here. So we got another tight end back up here, which when we were talking about how we were hoping we were going to get one here in the draft, but Howie was always planning ahead. It seemed like he already had someone in his sights.
Yeah, definitely. Now, for me, an Eagles Diva, if you want to chime in, you can. I love the Dan Arnold signing because he's a veteran. He's a guy that can block. He's a guy that can play. He's a guy that can also be a role model and example for the young tight ends that we have on the roster. He's going to do everything that you need him to do as a tight end. He's going to be a guy kind of like when we had Rodgers a couple of years ago. That's just whatever needed. He doesn't have to play a lot, but when he plays, he's going to give you everything, and he's going to help everyone else, be better. So love that signing.
Yeah, absolutely. We need the depth there, especially with who's the dude always gets hurt. The tight end,
Tyree Jackson.
Tyree Jackson, of course. We don't want to have to go because Dallas Goedert missed a couple games last year. We do have Jack Stoll and like Calcaterra, but Calcaterra was just drafted and Stoll's been here a couple of years, but they're not elite by any means. So bringing in someone that is somewhat established will help as a backup tight end. Like you said, the Richard Rodgers thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know that we have signed some of our I know we have signed some of our rookie class, but we'll just wait until everyone's signed, and in that way we can kind of just talk about everyone's signing when that happens. So we have a lot of schedule leaks that we're going to get to. Just to talk about. And of course, it all depends on, how things go. And of course, there's been some rule changes as well about the NFL schedule. So we'll talk about all that here in a little bit, guys. Of course, we're going to focus on the Philadelphia Eagles, but some of the things will apply to the teams because there'll be league-wide things. But first thing, of course, is we want to do what we do every week, right? And get ourselves in the right mood so we can rock this thing out. In order to do that, it's only one simple thing we need to do.
kick is away. And the kick is... It's good! And the Eagles win!
It's hard to come to South Philadelphia and leave here with the win. You just don't come to Philadelphia and leave here with the win.
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you. Let the celebration begin.
You know, I don't want to speak for you guys, but I can definitely say for me, I love that intro. It gets me ready to go. It gets the juices flowing. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Definitely.
It gets me ready. After I hear that, man, there's only one thing I always think, y'all. But to hop into it, you know, it's one of those episodes where, like I said, there'll be a lot of just breaking down what's been happening with the team, what's happening with the schedule, so those type of things. And then next week, ladies and gentlemen, you catch this live, you catch the replay, we will be getting back into our top 10s as well as our last season review. So we'll be hopping back into those things. But this is something I think is important for us to cover, just because everyone may not go into detail on this, but that doesn't mean the information doesn't need to get out there for us to see. So we'll go ahead and start with first just going through the undrafted free agents that we signed. And then once we do that, we'll go back and then we'll break down each individual one. But I'll give you the list first, and of course the couch. So Eli Ricks, cornerback from Alabama. A lot of people had him as a 5th or 6th round pick, you know, but he ended up being undrafted, and falling to us in the free agency signing period after the draft. And also another cornerback, Mekhi Garner from LSU. A lot of people had him as a 6th or 7th round pick, anywhere between the 30th and the 45th best corner available in the draft. He fell to us, another undrafted free agent, of course. Then we had offensive tackle Trevor Reed from Louisville. Another guy that, you know, some people had being drafted in the 7th round. Some people had not being, drafted at all, kind of on that fringe. But still, I think a great signing. Anytime you can add another big guy that you can develop, hey, look what we did with Mailata, I think that's a definite positive for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I believe I'm saying this right, Ben Van Summeren, linebacker from Michigan State. People had him anywhere from 30th to 40th best linebacker available, period. And he fell to us undrafted. And someone who I had a personal interest in, I thought he would be drafted, but it doesn't look like he was anticipated to be drafted and wasn't. And that's Joseph Ngata, wide receiver from Clemson, anywhere from 49th to 58th, depending on, you know, the service, how he was ranked as far as wide receivers. And then another receiver we grabbed was Jaden Hazelwood from Arkansas. If you notice, a lot of these guys are SEC guys. Makes a lot of sense. That's what people, feel like is the best conference in college football. So if you're going to get talent, why wouldn't you get it from some of those better teams? So it makes sense to me.
And he played with
we also got a tight end from Colorado named Brady. Yeah, Hazelwood did. Yep.
Yeah.
He moved around a bit. He was in Oklahoma with Jaden Hurts. And then Brady Russell, tight end from Colorado. We did also grab him. And then we grabbed a punter, Ty Zettner from Kansas State. I like the fact that this is where we went and got a punter, right? Somebody just undrafted free, just a punter. I mean, I think you're looking at some teams that are going out there drafting kickers and punters, and hey, it may be that important to you to have a guy, but I think the way that how he's been building recently, it makes sense. The way he made the moves that he made. I like him for the team, and I think they'll be, successful, at least in the short term. Sometimes it may not be the guy that plays right now, but the guy that learns and the guy that can develop in a year or two. So we'll definitely take a little breakdown of these guys. I don't know if you guys had a chance to um, do any research into the players themselves, but I was able to do some research here, so I have some info if you guys need it. Um, we'll start with Eli Ricks, the cornerback from Alabama. He weighs in at 6'2", 188 pounds. So Wyatt, we'll start with you. Any thoughts about Eli Ricks?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good pickup. I don't know too much on him. From what I understand, he did have like some injury history. That from what I saw, but I did see that like he didn't allow like any touchdowns in coverage over like almost 300 snaps. So I mean, it seems like he's a decent player. So I mean, we talked about last week how he likes these project corners. So hopefully, I mean, that's the point of getting some of these undrafted guys. You're hoping that they turn out to be like a diamond in a rough type thing, which past history with us and corners like that, it doesn't usually work out. But hey, you know, it seems like this is a new organization we're working with. They kind of turn the corner. So hopefully with, you know, some of the staff we have can turn these guys into hopefully starters down the line whenever Bradbury and Slayer are gone.
Yeah. Dio, did you have any thoughts on Eli Ricks?
No, I don't really know too much about him, but I'm just glad that, you know, we got another undrafted position filled because, I mean, it saves on the cap space on top of, you never know what you get from undrafted people. A lot of them think because they're undrafted that they are kind of the bottom of the barrel, but a lot of times you get, like White said, a diamond in the rough. So hopefully with this tight end position, we can make that happen. But yeah, good pickup.
Yeah, so Ricks was the 6th ranked high school player in his class. He was 39th by ESPN, 6th by Rivals. He started out as a freshman at LSU. So he started out at LSU, ended up at Alabama. Interesting thing there. He had 4 interceptions, including 2 pick sixes. He's very long, obviously 6'2". He's good in press coverage, so that's his specialty. So it's good to have guys that, you know, have different specialties when you're looking at corners, especially guys that go undrafted, because you can have them focus on what they do well while you try to develop the things they need to develop. And I mean, as Diva mentioned, you're sitting behind 2 of the best corners in the game right now, learning and absorbing from them. So that should be a great opportunity for you. He loves when he has opportunities, he makes big plays on the ball. This time last year, he was in a lot of people's top 10, but he transferred to Alabama, and that didn't turn out quite like he wanted. He did end up starting, having some great games for Alabama as well. He's very good at the position. He has talent, but personality was the big part, I think, about him falling out of the draft, out of where most people had him, like a 5th, 6th, 7th round pick. But I think he's a good get for Philadelphia. I think he's a guy that will flourish under the tutelage of the guys that we have. And again, as Eagle Divas also mentioned, this is a guy that we did not spend any capital on. This is a guy that's undrafted, so we get him at a good deal. We get a chance to see him for a few years. If for some reason he doesn't work out, then hey, no harm, no foul. Practice squad, maybe release him. He goes somewhere else and, you know, has a decent career. We've had that happen before as well. So yeah, I think he's to me, he's probably the top player, at least arguably, with the next guy we'll talk about that we got out of our undrafted free agents. And then the next guy is Mekhi Garner. He's a cornerback from LSU. He's 6'2", 212 pounds. He played at Louisiana before he transferred to LSU. He gets his hands on the ball. He had 7 pass breakups in 2020, 8 in 2021, and 8 in 2022. He ran slow at the combine, so that hurts you always as well. But he had good athleticism otherwise. But, you know, combine times can kind of get you. So, any thoughts on Mekhi Garner?
No, I really don't know too much about him, but I mean, that's just good competition for Ricks as well and some of the other, you know, CBs we have on the roster going into camp.
Absolutely. Any thoughts, Diva?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, yeah, he's a big corner. Still got to work on footwork. because he's got to be able to match NFL routes and make the
Yeah.
guys change directions, which is some of the things that you kind of you want from guys, but at the same time you can't teach height, but you can teach technique.
Mhm. Don't
Sometimes,
He's
get burned on
great.
them double moves.
Yeah,
sometimes
don't get burned on
because
double moves.
when we had Whiteside, I told you because he came to Prolific Park to work out with Ricky Pro, and I said when I told you, I said that boy footwork ain't right,
Well,
and Ricky
you said
worked for him.
no, I have yeah. Well, I mean,
Couldn't get it for some reason.
he shouldn't have been drafted. That was on the scouting department for drafting him. But you can teach, technique, especially the corners, because it's about them using their hands and their body to be able to force changes of direction. Well, we had a press corner in the first guy we talked about. This guy's more of a cover two, or he's a guy that may be able to play that hybrid role and play some safety as well, where he can support the run and cover tight ends. So big body, good size, still needs some technique work, but he's aggressive on the ball. He's good in the cover two scheme. So he's a guy that may be a situational player, and probably will be a great guy to help our really bad special teams as well. So that's kind of where I see him year one. But I wouldn't be upset if he gets some time at corner as well, even if it's just late in those games where we've already hopefully blown another team out, just to see what he can do on the NFL field if he makes the roster. All right, and then we have Trevor Reed. He's an offensive tackle from Louisville. He's 6'4" and 311 pounds. He originally played for Georgia Military College. Yeah, but he transferred to Louisville. He was a starting left tackle the last 2 seasons. He's an unrefined player that has upside because he has a lot of athleticism. He's long-armed, high-cut tackle. Pass protection would be his thing in the league. He's not a great run protector at this time, but that's something, of course, that can be developed. And if you're on a team and you're being plugged into the right situation, it's not going to be a problem for him. And I forgot to make this change here, guys. Better late than never. Just dove right into it. Didn't even change the topic. But oh well. He needs to work on upper body and hand strength. He's a decent athlete, but he's got to work on his core and balance and body control. And I mean, these are the things that you would expect from a guy that you end up drafting as a undrafted free agent, right? Because no one even saw fit to get him in like the 6th or the 7th round, so you expect that. But like I said, if I'm confident of any position where we'll take this guy and make him a serviceable starter, it's Stoutland and that offensive line. So I expect him to get in, learn, and become a better player over the next year or two, and be a guy that contributes in a couple of years to the team. All right, so that's that guy. Now, does either one of you have any thoughts on Trevor Reed?
You took the words out of my mouth, man. Like, pretty much it's the opposite of the corner situation. I have way more faith in them pulling this dude in, and with the Jeff Stoutland University, like making him I don't know about a key part, but a part of this offensive line going forward in the next couple of years, whether if it's just due to injury. But yeah, with Jeff Stoutland and the other vets on there, I'm more than confident that they can turn him into like a serviceable player there.
Most definitely. And just having the depth. I mean, I think it's important to have depth no matter what, because you don't ever know who's going to go down. And then that also gives them a chance to really, be able to show, improve what they could do. And then, watch film and then improve. It's all about improvement.
Yep, and then flexibility too, because he's a guy that he can play either tackle. He's played left mainly, but he's got a lot of technique either way, so you can teach him to play both sides. So that way you have that flexibility. We know Lane Johnson is a guy that will miss games throughout the season or miss parts of the game. So bringing another guy that can play that position, at least learn behind him possibly, wouldn't be a bad situation to be in, and especially if he's able to learn both right and left tackle and be that swing guy. So if either one of those guys get hurt, he would be a guy that could step in and maybe play that role and then work his way up. like Diva said, get the opportunity. You show us what you can do in training camp, in the season. And you never know what could happen from there.
Yeah.
So next we have Ben Van Summeren. He's a linebacker from Michigan State. He's 6'2", 231 pounds. So the interesting part of him is he's considered a athlete more than a football player. He ran a 4.5 40, jumped 42 and a half inches at 231 pounds on his vertical jump. So this guy is an athlete. So the thing with him will be him getting the mental side of the game. Right.
Yeah.
Not a lot of production. Game tape is meh at best, but he's just athletic. If you can teach him how to do things one at a time, teach him how to cover, teach him how to read the run, right? Different things. If he can get those things, maybe this is a guy when we talk about a guy coming in playing special teams in camp, and in this season maybe improving himself, practice squad, getting time to develop. That could be a possibility for us. This may be that guy. Now in college he had 81 tackles, 2 sacks, and 2 pass breakups. In 2022 he did for Michigan State. That's the only year that he started. So he wasn't a starter until his last year. So that's interesting as well. But the athleticism that he possessed clearly kept him on the field and kept him on the team and in the eyes of the coaches to where he got the opportunity to start this year. So I think more of a project than anything else at this time. But again, a special teams guy that can, get in and make plays in certain situations, situational player and special teams. But you're going to need that. And I wasn't impressed with special teams last year. So I'm all for overhauling that. New gunners, new blockers, new everything for special teams. So he could be one of those guys, I think, immediately and fill that role for the team. All right, so we got a comment. I'm not able to see who it is. But they say, what's up? Does Joe Nagata, wideout from Clemson, crack the lineup being compared to Julio Jones? Thoughts? So we'll actually hop on to that in a few minutes. We appreciate you checking in and watching us. If you have the opportunity, please hop on YouTube. That way we can actually see you without you needing to go in and approve us to be able to see who you are. And plus, it also helps the numbers when we get you on our YouTube channel. That's Eagles Elite. That's youtube.com/@Eagles Elite Podcast. But we're definitely going to hop on to him just real quickly. Diva or Wyatt, any thoughts on Ben Van Summeren?
No, go ahead, Diva.
I did watch a few of Michigan State's games this year, so I did see a little of Van Everett. He's very athletic, very, very athletic. So I think that would be good. I think that, we can develop him as far as his skills. But yeah, he definitely would be a good add to the special teams with his athleticism.
Yeah, it certainly seems like a project. Definitely more than the other free agents that we talked about so far. But like you said, we went kind of through the same thing with Mailata, way different position. But he never played football before going into the draft and everything. So if you're able to teach him like the coverages and everything like that, it's possible. But this looks like it's going to be like a year by year process. It's nothing new, but if he can come in and make an impact on special teams, that would be great. Because our special teams was a big problem last year, but I feel like that was more due to the coach, which we still haven't gotten rid of.
I hear that, man. I hear that. You know me, I've never been a huge fan of the coach we have, but it is what it is. They want to keep him, so that's that. So I'm sure both of you have a few more thoughts on Joseph Nagata. We've heard a lot about him the last few weeks. He's a wide receiver from Clemson, 6'3", 217 pounds. What are you guys' thoughts on Joseph Nagata?
Go ahead, Diva, if you want.
Yeah, just another great addition. I don't really remember seeing him play this year, but he's just another great addition.
Yeah. I mean, that wide receiver 3 spot's wide open as of right now, especially with everything that's going on with Quez. And I mean, they brought what was it, Zacchaeus in. So I mean, you got him, Quez, and who else? Greg Ward. They signed again on the roster. So I mean, it's wide open, and we picked up a couple unrestricted free agents. I definitely could see him being like a top candidate for that wide receiver 3 position, unless we go out and get like a veteran of some sort somewhere. But that would be nice to have all young weapons across the board. And like you said, have that third weapon that you were hoping you were going to get in the draft. But I mean, Nick Sirianni loves his speedsters, loves his athletic wide receivers. So, hey, why not? I'd be down for that.
Yeah. So he has a 33 and 1/8 inch arms and 10 and 1/4 inch hands. So this guy's got long arms, good hands. So here's some of the things. I know last user was asking. So here's one of the things for me. Over his career, he had 88 catches for 1,287 yards and 6 touchdowns. So I understand solid season this past year. And when he had 41 catches for 526 yards and 2 touchdowns. Injury slowed his progression, and he has difficulty getting open. So to me, that's what separates him from Julio. I know a lot of people hold, this is the second, another comparison of this guy and that guy. I simply say this. Sean, what's going on? So Sean says he was the guy with the quiz competition. He was one with the guy that commented. He was talking about the quiz competition. Yeah. So appreciate you hopping over, Sean. That's the thing for me, but I think some of the comparables and the better plays that you've seen from him, you definitely could make some comparisons, but I think he's got to be better at getting it open. Press coverage kills him. He's a good pass catcher when he catches the ball. I'm trying to figure out how to say this. When he gets into the route, it's tough for him to uncover. And what I mean by that is you get into your route, you're going one way, and then you have to kind of show yourself to the quarterback or be ready for that timing route. And he has some problems with that.
The timing.
And I think NFL quickness and coverage is going to be difficult for him initially. But I think he has the innate skills that once he gets more coaching on that, if we have that for him, which is something we haven't had in the past, but it looks like we've started to turn the corner with Devontae Smith as far as just coaching him up to be able to play in the NFL. I mean, you can't teach, 6'3", 217 pounds. You can't teach that.
Yeah. But maybe this is like this perfect spot that could benefit him. Not as far as coaching, but as far as because you have Devontae, you have AJ, Dallas Goedert on the offense as well. Maybe keeping him in that slot would help him and benefit him a little bit, as far. I mean, you have all these other weapons they're looking out for, and maybe that could help him out if he does get that wide receiver 3 spot, of course. But who knows? I mean, I think it's definitely going to be down to those 3 I mentioned, unless they pick someone else, like Quez, him, or Zacchaeus, who I haven't really seen anything on him, so I don't really know what he looks like as well.
Zacchaeus is going to give Quez everything he can take for that number 3 receiver spot. Zacchaeus definitely is a guy. I know it's a little bit off of the undrafted free agency thing, but Zacchaeus is a guy who catches the ball. He knows how to run routes. He understands how to play, and he does not drop the ball a lot. He secures the ball. He doesn't fumble. He does all those little things that you want that number 3 to do. He's like a younger version of Pascal to me, a little bit bigger. So I think Zacchaeus is going to give them a run for money, whoever he's battling to possibly be that 3rd receiver. I think that's why Quez Watkins is mad, and that's why he said, I'm going to show everybody. You're going to have to show everybody, Quez, because if you don't, you're going to be battling, I think, Nagata, and the next guy we'll talk about, Jaden Hazelwood, for the 4th receiver spot. So get it together, or you might might be moving on down the depth chart. Um, Now, the other thing that could be good about Nagata that we don't get with a guy like Devontae Smith is his ability to be physical. If he sets himself to it, he could be a great blocker for us. He can be a guy to block. He can be a guy that maybe can contribute on special teams. He could have that same type of role as Pascal had on the team. Hopefully, it's not his ceiling, but there are some people that believe that may be his ceiling. But I'm not going to buy into that. I think it's all about work. You work, you get better. Some guys come in, you're the top picks, you're the number one guys off the rip. But we've seen plenty of examples, we don't need to go through them, of guys that may have came in and people thought they weren't going to be this, they weren't going to be that because of deficiencies in the game. Come to the league, you get on a serious workout plan, you learn how to be a professional. You get mentored by the better wide receivers on your team. You're in that wide receiver room all day. You put in that work, you can make it happen. So we will see where it goes with him, but I do think this is a good guy to pick as an unrestricted free agent. Undrafted, free agent. This is definitely a guy that I'm not upset with us signing.
Yeah, I'm all for the depth at wide receiver position.
Yeah. And also Ricks and Nagata, who we both talked about, two guys we talked about, they were 5-star recruits coming out of high school. Hazelwood was one as well. He was the 5th ranked by Rivals, 6th by ESPN. So this is a guy that people had a lot of faith in coming out of high school, that he was going to be one of those guys in college. Mm-hmm. He's 6'2", 250 pounds, but he ran a slow 40 at 4.66. So that hurt him a lot as far as teams looking at him because they're saying, oh, he ran a slow 1. He played 3 seasons at Oklahoma, including one with Jalen Hurts, and then transferred to Arkansas. In Arkansas, he had 59 catches for 702 yards and 3 touchdowns. He was mostly in the slot, so this is another guy that Quez Watkins is going to have to watch out for. And as Wyatt alluded to earlier, he has a prior connection with QB1. So that could be interesting, and I think he could have that Pascal-like role, but I think also he could take Watkins' spot. I think Watkins is the most vulnerable guy as far as a starter, really on offense or defense, to lose their job to a rookie or a free agent that's come onto the team that was already there. Obviously, there's some spots that were going to be open anyway, and we'll talk about the different positions as we did last offseason, who's there, where we have the rankings as far as who's the number 1, number 2, number 3, and those. We'll definitely get into that as well as we get a little deeper into the offseason. But yeah, you guys have any thoughts on Jaden Hazelwood, the former Oklahoma and Arkansas receiver?
No. Man, I'm just glad that they're listening to QB1, because my guess is that he's kind of putting that stuff in their ear as well. Like, hey, I played with this dude before. Maybe you want to go try him out. Yeah. Hey, they're listening to him. Seems like they're all in on QB1 after giving him that max contract. So I love to hear it. I love the way that the organization's going.
I just want to rub in the face of other organizations, team-friendly max contract. Just had to put that in there.
Right.
All right, so we have 2 more undrafted free agents to talk about, and then we'll talk about a few who did really well from last year. So the first one here is Brady Russell, the tight end from Colorado. He's 6'3", 247 pounds. He only had 20 catches for 153 yards, but he was on the Colorado team last year that was really bad. The one where Deion came in and basically was like, hey, y'all don't want to play football, work, get better, just leave.
Get out.
Yeah,
get out.
Some of them just left because they don't even want to really play. So he was on that team. So, yeah, he's one of those guys. He could possibly be a guy that could make the squad. You never know. Jack Stoll was a guy, just another example of an undrafted free agent in 2021 who made the team and is basically become the backup tight end for us. So we'll see how it rolls with Russell now. But like I said, that team was so bad that there's not even like there's not a lot to go off of as far as stats. It's just mostly the talent, the raw talent.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, you guys?
No, man.
No.
All right, cool. And then lastly, we have our punter, Ty Zettner. He'll give sip-offs competition and training camp as long as they're both there. And I mean, that's
I actually saw a video of that dude, and he was bombing balls at practice. Hey, we need a punter. I mean, it's easily overlooked because it is a punter and everything. But I mean, if you look at that back half of last season, every time we were punting it, they were getting damn good field position every time. And we just need a dude that can just bomb it, whether it's a touchback or whatever. We need a dude that can bomb it, and it just was not happening with the guy we have, and then like the guy we picked up from the Titans, he did even worse. And he was like a Pro Bowl punter and everything, but his best years were behind him apparently. But yeah, I mean, hopefully with Sipos being back, it'll help. But I mean, he's been so wishy-washy as well.
And Zettner's 6'2", 199, so good size, especially for a punter. So that could be beneficial to us as well.
Yeah, and I like you said earlier, this is the best way to go about it as well through like free agency and everything. Like, don't bother doing it in like the draft range. I saw like San Fran took a punter or a kicker or something in like the 4th or 3rd round or something. Like, what are you doing?
Hey, be careful, man. Deebo Samuel might hear you and then start running around again crying about that they was playing 10 people and that's why they lost, because he's still running around crying about that.
Send him that picture of AJ with the tissue box. Keep crying, man. Keep crying.
World's smallest violin is definitely.
He'll be crying again after the game here this year too.
Yeah.
All I want to say about that is, San Francisco fans, whether you win or lose, keep calm. It's the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
If you beat us in the regular season, it doesn't mean you're going to the Super Bowl. If you lose to us in the regular season, it doesn't mean your team sucks and the referees cheated. It just means that you weren't the better team that day, or you were the better team that day. That's not a day.
Move on.
The days that are important are the days of the championship game, the Super Bowl, and the playoffs. Unfortunately, guys didn't get it done. You gotta live with it. It's okay.
Man, I feel like we got over the Super Bowl way faster than they got over that championship game. Like, come on.
They're still not over it.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, they still talk about it. Like, of course, the Super Bowl hurts, but man, I'm past it at this point.
Hey man, I mean, what are you gonna do at this point, right? It's not gonna go back and change.
Exactly. Like, what are you talking about?
Season.
Focus on the season, Debo.
And finishing what you think you started last year. So
yeah, tell your coach to find a decent quarterback for y'all. That's your problem.
Maybe, exactly. Maybe have a better blocking scheme for one of the best rushers, edge rushers. Maybe don't have a backup tight end trying to stop him.
Yeah, tell your genius of a coach to fix it.
Me too, genius.
Yeah, right. Like, oh man, I can't wait to play that.
How did our grandparents used to say, and our great aunts and uncles, so smart you're stupid? One of those types. But yeah, so some of the undrafted free agents that we had from last year were Reed Blankenship, a name that we've talked about a lot, Josh Joby, and Josh Seals. They made the roster out of training camp. Britton Covey eventually got added as well. Whatever. But so those were the guys from 2022. In 2021, Jack Stoll made it. In 2019, TJ Edwards and Nate Herbig made it. Just two names we,
Look at TJ Edwards went and just got paid.
Yep. In 2018, we had one Bruce Hector. Never heard of him, and I'm a pretty strong fan, so I'd say he didn't have much of an impact. 2017 was a good one. Corey Clement was an unrestricted free agent undrafted free agent that we signed. 2016, we just go back a few years here. Paul Turner, Dylan Gordon, Destiny Veo, and CJ Smith. Yeah. It just shows that we don't always hit on undrafted.
I recognize a couple of the names, but like nothing like stands out or anything, of course.
Right. In 2015, one made the roster. It was Diddle Rice. Yeah. In 2015, Burton and Cody Parkey. Those actually were two guys that made a difference on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Trey decided to go to Chicago to try to get paid and forgot that he was an undrafted free agent, and didn't go well
He ended
for
up
him.
helping us out a couple years later, Cody Parkey.
Yeah. Helped us out
The old
twice.
double doink.
Yeah, appreciate that. 2013, Matt Tobin's name we'll realize. Damian Square was a defensive tackle we probably won't remember. And then Jake Knott. I think I remember him having a smoking a pancake with the Eagles. And then we'll go, the last one we'll talk about is 2012, where we had two, and that was running back Chris Polk. I remember the name, but I do not remember him for anything. And then wide receiver Demarius Johnson, who I do remember slightly.
Mm-hmm. Did you say Mailata in 2019 or 2020? Because wasn't Mailata undrafted?
He was a seventh.
Oh, he was seventh rounder. For some reason, I thought he went undrafted.
He was a seventh rounder. Yeah, he was a seventh rounder.
Gotcha. My bad.
Yeah. All good.
That's what's up, though. We've been hitting on a couple of them here and there.
Yeah. So it's important to get them. I think it's important to talk about them because they could be major players.
Yeah, absolutely. If we were able to afford them, I would have been cool keeping TJ Edwards. But I mean, it's business. That's football's business.
Yep. So definitely that. So we got a couple of rumors about some of the games. So here's some of the rumors. I'm sure you guys have seen other rumors, so feel free to throw those out there. Well, but for this, I'm going to go with some that I've heard. So week 1, 2 rumored games are the Cowboys at the Giants and the Panthers at the Falcons.
Okay. I've also heard
that
the Birds and the Commanders for week 1 as well.
I have heard that as well. That would be interesting. I hope it's not. What I really feel like we should be week one is the Super Bowl rematch. That's what I think should happen week 1.
Thursday night kickoff.
We should go to Kansas City and let's start it off right. That's what I think. I doubt they'll do that, but I think you have a rare opportunity. You have the team that lost and the team that won the Super Bowl, right there. They're playing each other anyway. They're both expected to be really good the next year. I mean, it writes itself, but what I'm hearing is Eagles Chiefs week 2.
Yeah, from Donna Kelsey herself apparently posted on Facebook about a bunch of different schedule leaks or something that my guess is she had from the source from her son. So she said about the Eagles playing at Arrowhead week 2. Hopefully it's a primetime game. You would think they would make that a primetime game.
It's got to be a primetime game. I'm just baffled why it's not week 1, but it's got to be a primetime game.
I'm hoping they play at home week 1 as well. That way we don't have to sit there and see the unveiling of the banner and everything. I don't want to see it. I don't want to deal with it.
That is a good point. Any other rumors you've heard about week 1?
No, not really.
Okay. And what about week 2? Either you guys heard any other rumors about week 2?
Just what old Mama Kelsey posted about the Chiefs and Eagles there.
Yeah, that's all. I haven't heard anything else. And then us playing on Christmas. That's about it.
Yeah, and that's official.
Yeah.
Yes, it's funny how they're supposed to be everything coming out tomorrow, right? But there's already things that are pretty much official.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Bro,
we also
have.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, man.
I was gonna say it was Giants and Eagles, 4:30 game on Christmas. So how Boston Scott stole Christmas for the Giants.
Yep.
It's crazy that we're going to be playing them. It's going to be like week 16, so that's it's interesting. And we got a couple of games, of course, that are going to be in Germany, in London.
Yeah. I'm glad we don't have to play in any of them.
Yeah, in any of those games, so that's good to know. The Chiefs are actually going to be rumored week 9 to be playing in Germany.
Yeah, against the Bears.
Well, I'm seeing Dolphins and Chiefs.
Oh, the Dolphins and Chiefs?
Yeah.
I heard about them playing the Bears possibly too.
It could be. I mean, I don't
That'd
think
be great. I'd rather see the Dolphins and Chief. The old Tyreek against his former team.
Yep. And if you're in the comments and you've heard any rumors, all right. So Sean did ask us, does the kicker punter uh give Zidane give Sipos some competition? Definitely does.
I hope so.
Hope so.
Yeah.
Definitely. And then Philly asked, are we going to talk about schedule rumors? Yep. There's a lot of rumors out there, Philly. If you guys have any in the chat, make sure you drop those. I want to take a quick few minutes to talk about some of the actual changes that are going to be happening with scheduling.
Okay.
All right. So before we had things that were a little bit more what's the word I'm looking for here? A little bit more solidified. Like you kind of knew if the Chiefs, just the two teams talked about, or the Jags and Bills or whatever, two teams that were going to be on CBS, right? They wouldn't be on Fox, whatever. So this
Eagles
year,
usually on Fox
that's not going
when
to
they're
be
playing.
the case. What's going to happen? Yeah, that no longer. All the games are free agents. So a game can be on Thursday night. Any game can be on Sunday, 1 or 4, or the late night game, or Monday. I think you had to do this for Amazon because Amazon had a lot of garbage games last year, and all play on Thursday night twice a season now.
Mm-hmm.
And no one's guaranteed a primetime game. So we're gonna see basically what I think is what I would refer to as a cluster cluck, for lack of saying anything worse than that. You're going to see a lot of times where you may, I mean, I don't know how they're going to do it. I guess that's going to be revealed tomorrow. Yeah, we did hear about the Christmas game, Philly. And there's a lot of other rumors, but there's no point in talking about like 50 different rumors. But let's just say, from what I've seen, that's supposed to be our schedule. Is going to be a lot of interesting matchups happening at different points. And we're going to have a couple of Thursday night games, a couple of Monday night games, and a couple of Sunday night games. We'll see if that all holds. But to me, the biggest concern with scheduling the way that they're going to be doing things now is switches, logistics of the switches. If I'm expecting the Eagles to play at 4 o'clock, coming in town, they end up playing at 8 o'clock because they get flexed a week or two before. That kind of changes a lot of things because if I'm expecting them to play at 4, maybe the timing for me to check out of the hotel, flights going home, different things like that could be affected. And some of these things are going to change rather quickly. So my concern is, how does that affect like me as a consumer, you guys, all the teams? They're fans, people that may not be from a city that's going to watch a game, or even fans of the other team. That are coming and paying for tickets. So they're going to have to find a balance.
Yeah. As soon as I saw those rules, like not the rules, but like pretty much everything going that's new happening with the scheduling and everything, I immediately thought, oh, this is just an easy way for them to move stuff around if they ever needed to, or if they want to, like, oh, this game didn't turn out how I wanted to, let's just bump this game up to the prime time slot, or these two teams aren't as good as we thought they were at this point of the season, let's bump them down, move someone else to prime time. It makes sense as far as, because nobody wants to see bad Thursday night matchups like we've had the past couple of years, like you said. But at the same time, yeah, you got to think of it from like a fan's point of view that wants to go see these games. Like, how is someone just supposed to change a plane ticket or travel or hotel accommodations last minute like that? You can't. And I understand. I mean, that's the NFL is all about their money and they want to put the best product out there and then their best time slots. But I mean, it's just not. It doesn't help the fans any. I think it hurts the fans.
Yeah, most definitely. Because you don't never know where somebody's traveling from. Like, what if they're traveling from England and they have to go back to work, like, and have to be back to work on a Monday, and you change your 4 o'clock game or your 1 o'clock game to an 8 o'clock game at the last minute. Like, you can't do that. And people pay a lot of money for these tickets and to travel. And then we all know hotel, you have to check out at least by 12. So you basically have to stay another day. And so that could just be, that could be hectic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And to give you a little bit more breakdown, so there's been a lot of talk about all the different things. So let me kind of explain some of that. Monday nights are flexible now, but Monday night games can be flexed until week 13. Sunday night football can only flexing for Sunday night football can only happen twice between weeks 5 and 10, and you can only be flexed now if you are a 4 o'clock game. So if you're a 1 o'clock game, you cannot be flexed into Sunday night or Monday night. You have to stay at 1 or possibly just go to 4. You cannot be flexed into Sunday or Monday night, which I like. And the reason I do like that is like what we were talking about. If you're supposed to start at 1, you start at 4. You kind of make some things have to see a later flight, but you still should be pretty good. But taking a 1 o'clock game and moving that to Monday, or taking a 1 o'clock game and moving that to Sunday night, that could cause a lot of problems.
Definitely.
So that's how that flexing is working with Monday night for anybody who was curious of that.
Interesting.
Did talk about the prime time, no more prime time promises. So you don't get exposure unless you're good.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's just gonna be the best teams that are getting primetime games now. Again, like how it should be.
Oh yeah. Also, we have to mention Black Friday. So there will be a Black Friday game for the first time ever.
Wow.
I'm cool with it. More football.
Yep.
It'll be exclusive to the Thursday Night Football Amazon Prime streaming. So if you don't have Amazon, you won't be able to see the Black Friday game, and the kickoff is 3 p.m. for it.
Okay. Sweet.
So yeah. So a lot of things changing. They may change the rules on like how often you can be flexed into things after the season, but those are the main changes that are happening this year. And how that affects the Eagles is obviously the Eagles are one of the better teams. So with that being said, good possible probability that we have 2 Thursday night games. You know, we get flexed in. That's a good and a bad thing. All of you better teams. Wild card Mar, what's going on? And Mar, we'll be hollering at you for the review for that Chiefs game. I don't want to do it, but we gotta do it.
We got another confirmed game apparently. Check Twitter. And that is week 13, 49ers, December 3rd at 4:25 p.m.
So that could be a flex game.
Could be.
That could be flexed. If
Quite possible.
We are.
Yeah,
that game
probably
will get flexed Sunday or Monday night.
Doesn't say whether it's in Philly or San Fran though.
It's already been determined. We just have to look and see if we have to go to them or if they come to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just have to look at that. But yeah, the schedules will be releasing tomorrow. You never know. We might get a little quick video from us sometime tomorrow. You never know. Once the schedule is released, maybe not, maybe. Just have to tune in to find out how that works. But yeah, so there's so many things going on here. Now, see, this is the kind of comments that we're going to chop and save. Right? Because you did not do it in the Super Bowl when you had the referee's help. So I don't know what makes you think you're going to do it just because you're in Burrowhead Stadium.
Yeah. I am not afraid of those Chiefs. I wasn't in the Super Bowl, and I'm certainly not now.
The Chiefs didn't show me anything to scare me.
No.
Jonathan Gannon, like I've been saying all last year, scared me. And he proved to be the difference in the game. And he's no longer here.
Yeah.
Right.
And also we got Snowman Multimedia, Snowman
Snow?
himself.
Snowman.
Appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, guys, this schedule is going to be very interesting. There's a lot of teams that we play. We know who we play already. It's just a matter of what week we're going to play and when we're going to make things happen. So stay tuned to Eagles Elite because we will be discussing this. You know, we're going to break it down next week because we have no choice. That's who we are. That's what we do.
We do.
So let me reiterate for Wyatt. I hope you're listening.
Do I have to say it again?
We
does not understand.
Are not afraid of the Kansas City Chiefs and the Refer Chiefs in Arrowhead or anywhere else in the world.
I mean, I'm just confused because you still didn't put a whooping on us in the Super Bowl. Like,
I mean, our QB outperformed your QB. It's just our defense didn't do a damn thing. I mean, we've been through this a bunch of times already, but there's no reason to be scared of those Chiefs. Come on now.
Chiefs, no fear.
They're just all high. They're uppity right now. It is what it is. That's what happens when you win a Super Bowl.
That's what
you'll come down to earth. It happens.
Our hearts don't pump Kool-Aid, partner. Eagles hearts
drinking
don't
the
pump
Kool-Aid. But I did want to mention, since you mentioned Jonathan Gannon isn't here anymore, it is to make a note that tomorrow Sean Desai is having his introductory press conference tomorrow. It's his first press conference defensive coordinator. And we also are going to be hearing from Brian Johnson for the first time since he has become offensive coordinator as well. So for Eagles fans that are in the press conferences, those are ones to look out for tomorrow. So I'm going to be definitely tuning into those.
For sure. This is a good opportunity to meet our OC in DC, hear what they have to say, hear them answer questions.
Absolutely.
And get some inside information on these guys because, they're supposed to be leading the team, right? So the time of the show has come. Of course, we got to do our cheap plugs. So shout out to Shady Sports Network, our partner, who we're also streaming on. With Shady Sports Network, man, all football, all time. Fantasy football, covering all the professional leagues, indoor football leagues, XFL, USFL, leagues of that sort, talking to different players, coaches, team owners, different things from those leagues. They're all football, so perfect match with an elite show for one of the best football teams in the world, the Philadelphia Eagles. So shout out to them. Also shout out to Play College Sports Productions. We rock with that, kind of where we come from, the beginning of the Eagles Elite podcast. Another show we have there on Friday nights, Play College Sports Talk Show, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Drop through, check us out. Of course, Wyatt, talk to us about where else we could find you as well, sir.
Yeah, man. You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Wyatt Burgard, at Wyatt Burgard on Twitter. Pretty much just talking about Eagles and sports and stuff on there. Of course, you can find me at my other show, Cinema Trip Reviews, on Twitter, Insta, and YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts as well. It's just a podcast talk about movies and TV shows and stuff. It's a lot of fun. Come in, make sure to like, share, and subscribe.
Yep. And then also, man, I'm everywhere, right? Basketball shows, professional wrestling shows, football, Matchup Madness will be hitting you back up here on the week before the season starts. So a lot of places you can see me. Just look for me. You can always follow me on YouTube, my personal one at Cool McCain, or here at Eagles Elite Podcast or Play College Sports Talk. Shout out to Sports Empire Network as well. So definitely a bunch of different places where you can see this mug and hear me talk sports. Eagles Diva, what you got?
You can always follow me on Facebook or Twitter at Sierra Cobb. And I think Twitter at Sierra Cobb 1. Yeah, follow me. Always talking sports. Let's get it.
And at this point in the show, there's only one thing that I'm going to say to Lamar and the Kansas City Chiefs. And it goes a little something like this.
And if you're not done with that, Philly's got 2 words for you.
So enjoy your championship while you have it. You will not be winning another one. If you can get back, you're going to get the beat down you deserved last year. Yeah, I'm not talking about the regular season. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when it counts, Mr. Wallace. All right.
Y'all have a good one.
So fly Eagles fly.
Hashtag be elite.
Hashtag be elite. And we're gonna put it up here. You got 2 words, the champs. Yep, you're the champs. Make sure that payment goes through to the refs, and make sure that payment goes through to your drug provider for Mr. Mahomes. He hopped back out and act like there was no injuries for the first half. So make sure those payments go through, because those things come out later.
Yeah,
you might get a slap on the wrist. They won't do anything much to you because the refs were even for you. So why would the league do anything to you? But with that being said, we're going to end for the evening. I appreciate everybody that watched.
Yes, sir.
If you like the show, man, share it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you also subscribe to Shady Sports Network. Check us both out. All the places you can find us. And Lamar.
Bro, you're the one coming and watching Eagle shows. What does that say about you?
At this point, Lamar,
you just trolling. We don't feed the trolls around here, so get going, buddy.
Have a good night, buddy. Have a good one.
Only one thing left to say to you before we end.
You know your damn role and shut your damn mouth.
That's for you, sir. That's for you. Now, with that being said,
y'all have a good one.
Yeah, have a good one, everybody.
And let's get it.